Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest Rock Your Brand webinar. Thanks for joining us. And today we're going to be talking about the power of the headshot for your brand and your business, I suppose. As a brand designer, I deal with photography a lot. I'm not a brilliant photographer myself. I tend to deal with photography which is supplied to me, or I will use stock photography. And photography is one of the things which I allocate quite high in the list of how you can very quickly improve your brand image. And for me, it's usually your brand image through your branding materials like brochures, your website, flyers, things like that. But another area that you can really boost your brand creativity and its image is through a really, really good photograph of your face or a headshot. And today we have the headshot queen herself, Laura Pearman, and Laura specializes in headshot photography. That is her thing. That's exactly what she does, and she's absolutely brilliant at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Laura to you all now, and Laura can give us a quick rundown of what it is she does, and we'll just kind of free-form it from there. We'll let Laura do a little presentation about her services and how headshot photography can help us in our brands, and I will ask any questions that the live audience have, and we'll just take it from there. So, over to you, Laura. Say hi.
Oh, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Carl. I'm really pleased to be here.
Great to have you.
Yeah, thank you. So I think it's really cool that we're finally getting to talk about how we work together, because I don't know about you, but I love it when creatives like us can jam together.
Yeah, totally.
Isn't it? When you have someone cool on bass and then someone cool on drums, you can come together and form like a mighty rock group. That's what it's
Well,
like.
that's how it works, isn't it? The bass player and the drummer are the main components of the band. The vocalist and the guitars, they just want the attention. We're the engine. We're the engine that makes it all work.
Yeah. So I've dabbled in a lot of different styles of photography. It's important for everyone who doesn't know me, who's seeing me for the first time. I've done a lot of niching down over the years. So I've got a little bit of a background in marketing. Then I got into photography after traveling around the world. That's a very long story, but we won't go into that today. And now all I do is on-brand headshots photography. So I want to get straight in today to talk about that. And yeah, let's just dig straight in and we'll get into that. So I think probably the best place to kind of get started is if we talk about the headshot versus the selfie. So I want to kind of dispel everything around people using selfies and trying to palm them off for headshots, because they're very two different things. So can I show you some slides? Can we get into some slides?
Of course you can.
Okay, let's see if we can make this rock. Okay, so let's share my screen. Okay, so this is me. Right, so headshot versus the selfie. So this is how I see it in my brain. This took me ages to make up. I am not this vain, okay? But at the top of your all your profiles on your social media is where your headshots should sit. So on your profile picture is where your glossy headshot should be. And then in the flow of your feed is where you put all your selfies. So the real you, the unpolished you, you living your life, you're out at a meeting, you're out at networking, you're, trying on a new pair of glasses, or you're out a little bit drunk, whatever it is you're doing, drinking cocktails, or like me, getting my roots done, or whatever it is, that's where you are, living your life and sharing the real you. And that is what makes you living your brand and showing your brand values. So they've worked with somebody like you. They might have worked with somebody who is helping them form their brand, but I'm there to help you with your polished version of yourself in your headshot. So that's where the differentiation happens.
Yeah.
In the visual sense. So this is what I want people to kind of write down now. If you've got a pen and you're watching this, this is what you need to have in your checklist. So a calling card equivalent is what you need to have in your headshots. You need to have a fail-safe headshot. I want you to have a black and white version of a headshot. And then I want you to have a headshot showing what it is that you do that makes you so great. So it might be that you do speaking. It might be that you inspire people, you educate people. I don't know if you're a kick-ass hairdresser or if you're a metal worker, but showing what it is that you do through a headshot. So it's all of those different things. And this is why when you're working with somebody like me, who is a headshots photographer, I do a whole session and we get all of those things in one shoot. It's not one wham bam, one photograph. We will get all of those things in one shoot at the same time. Sometimes it involves a change of clothes, sometimes it involves other people, but all of those is what you need to have in your arsenal. Okay. This is what a classical calling card is. So you've got Sophie here and you've got Jasmine. Jasmine is an up-and-coming model. Saw her here first, and Sophie is a vocalist. So this is the kind of thing from like Fame, if you can remember the movie Fame in the 80s. And this is what they would lay down after they've done an audition on their way out. And I create these for people in the performing arts. So you would come in, you get a full body shot, and then you would write down all your vital statistics on the side. I've changed some of the personal information here for data protection reasons, but you might sometimes bend the truth a little bit, and you'd be like, you know, I'm 4'11", when really you're 4'9", and you put down all of your stats so that when you left the audition room, the people who are doing the casting would remember you and go, yeah, she's quite hot. We might cast her for the role of, I don't know, Sandy in Grease or whatever it is. But that's how a calling card works in like show business. Yeah. But in the rest of the world, we still need a calling card equivalent, and it might look something like this. So it's a full body shot of you in context. Right. So we've got Joanne here walking down the street, and then we've got Tina, who's actually a personal trainer, and she's in a boxing ring there. And this is a full body headshot. So you might think the word headshot is quite a tight crop. Yeah. You just your head and shoulders. But I try and make sure that all of my clients have this full body headshot. So you might say, well, actually, Laura, that's a bit of a portrait. But I think if you have this, straight away, a graphic design brain might think, hang on a second, we've got a little bit of space above the head there. You could think, women's health above Tina's head. You know, you can start thinking, right, we can lay text over that. That would work great as a magazine cover. Or I know clients sometimes use this as a proposal document cover. Yeah. You can start, this relates sometimes as a great pull-up banner. You can crop it down and use it. It's a very versatile document. And it's one of those pictures that has a million uses, but when you propose it to a client, they're like, no, I don't really need that. But when you have it, my God, is it? Yeah. So it's one of those things that I always try and suggest very strongly to clients to think about doing. So if you're not really sure about the context, if you haven't got one of those traditional trade like careers, we can put it in the city that you spend a lot of time in. And you know, this is Newcastle here. You've got a bit of a Georgian building there, or we make you look very cosmopolitan, or we put you in an office setting, or we start looking at your brand values and pulling those through when we're planning. So that's how we do that. But you'll see it's different to the traditional calling card, but we could very well lay over a similar sort of text there. So this is the classical headshot crop for the same clients, just to show you the difference. So I've seen both Joanne and Tina use these pictures in their, you know, when we had the slide of me, the very vain, weird slide of me and the feed. these would be the pictures that they use on their profile pictures, and then they would have the feed of them. I don't know, Tina would be out training with her clients in the gym, and Joanne might be out visiting clients or out doing some networking, and on we go. But this is the very polished version of these two ladies and their very best version of themselves professionally.
Yeah.
Now, the black and white version. These are actual, real TED Talks women from America. And weirdly, they both talk about relationships and sex. So yeah, they appeal to me in that way. But guess who is doing the selfie? You instantly can tell, I think.
Yeah.
She's ripped off a selfie, and then the poor folks at TED have had to get a selfie from Twitter and try and palm it off. So it's really pixelated. It's the one on the left, if anyone's got any misgivings there and thinking, oh, I don't know which one it is. But straight away, one lady looks more professional visually than the other. Who's getting booked more? Who's going to be picked as the keynote speaker purely on face value? I know who I'd choose. So yeah, TED Talks is a great example, because if you go on the TED Talks website, they have every single TED Talks speaker, because of the design of their site, is black and white headshot, cropped down to this tight square. This is the kind of reason why I suggest to all clients, think about having a black and white headshot in your arsenal. It might not be in line with your particular branding, but you want to make sure that your photographer or your graphic designer can turn one of your images to black and white. And you can't, it's not just, adjustment, grayscale, save.
Flicking it
You've
through,
got to do some work to make a black and white picture correctly black and white. There's
you don't just press a button then, like in my industry to create things, because I've got a make logo button that I use that a lot.
Yeah. So it ain't just a quick filter. You've got to do a little bit of tweaking around to make it a good black and white option. So think about that. If you have all color options and you want to go back to your photographer and say, can you just do this as a black and white one? That should be an option that's on the house, as far as I'm concerned. If it's not, let's call them out on Twitter maybe. Okay, moving on then. Doing what it is that you're doing. And I've included some clients here from, I think I saw Kathy dial in. Hi, Kathy.
He's here.
So yeah, we've got doing what it is that you do. So Kathy's a great example. Kathy does social media. So this is Kathy planning some work for her clients. We've got Janet there at CMA Live. So she's delivering some talking and professional speaking. I've got a client there who's a business coach. She's meeting with a client. And then we've got Ian Anderson Gray talking at Social Media Marketing World. So what is it that you do, and how can we capture that in a headshot? All of my clients use these, and they help just to deliver that brand message and tell a bit more of a story about what it is that you do. So if you have headshots that are just you, on a plain background, you might want to consider now adding to your arsenal and start telling the story about what it is that you do. So think about that. And it's going to start, building on your brand a little bit. Okay, Laura, got it. Let's rock. So how would we rock that further? I love referring to the cupcake analogy, basically because it's really easy for me to remember, because I freaking love cake. But this helps me with brand. So what is it about let me learn about your values in the first place. So what are your brand values? And the real cake of your business is what everyone's saying about you behind your back. So if you're going around saying, yeah, well, one of my brand values is that, we reply to clients within 24/7, we're available around the clock, but actually it takes you 2 weeks to get back to people on email, it ain't a brand value. You can say that until the cows come home, but it ain't true, man. You're lying to people, and that's what everyone's saying behind your back. So yeah, it's bullshit. So what is, that's the cake. If you're delivering on what it is, that's the cake. That's the real meat and, the proper stuff behind your business. And then, like it or not, we are the icing. We're the lovely fluff, the sweet stuff on top. We help to make it all look very, very appealing and lovely. And coming on top of that, we need to make sure that the professionals always do it better. So if I'm going to get some professional headshots taken, I'm not going to do it myself. Even though I'm a professional headshots photographer, I'm going to go to another professional headshots photographer to do my headshots. So even though I know Photoshop, I would still get a professional graphic designer to do my professional graphic design. So that's what that last point's all about. Even if you it's like a hairdresser, again, going back to the hairdressing thing, you're not going to cut your own hair. You probably would be able to do a really good job on your own head of hair, but you would probably want to get somebody else to do it yourself. You're always going to need to go to another person to do it, to have that, it's that visual thing, and to be able to step outside of your brand. And
absolutely. It's the same with me. Yeah, when I have to do my own logos, I always go to other expert graphic designers and get their input on it, because you can't see what other people see, as you've said. So you do need that outside.
Yeah, you need to
influence.
have somebody looking at you and analysing you in a different way, don't you? It's sometimes a tough one to explain.
Sometimes it's tough to accept.
Yes, especially I think it was a tough one for me to accept when I was starting up, because you always want to try and save the pennies, don't you? And then I remember taking that first step first time when I did a rebrand, and trusting other people, and it was so refreshing.
It is. I think it's the same. I think it's the same for a lot of services. I was the same when I took on a business coach, because I was floundering, and it was a heavy investment, but it was the best thing I ever did. But the worry I had beforehand, and it's the same. I can, say the same for when people come to me and I give them my pricing. Say, that's a huge investment, but I know that the investment will work. And it's the same with photography. Whether it is, professional photography for products, it'd just be the same for headshots. You just
absolutely. It's taken that plunge.
Rock and cheese, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
next level.
So it can be a tough one, but you've got to kind of take the plunge. So that's what that's about. And I like to say, sometimes if I'm doing a 60 seconds at a new event, the headshot is the cherry on top of the icing. So you can't have the cherry on top, because it would just fall off the cake if you didn't have good icing there. And what's the point in having a cherry on top of a cake if the cake itself is a piece of shit? What's the point? Yeah. So yeah, moving on then. This is how I rock things. So I have face-to-face meetings with people, or I do cyber cocktails. So if I have new clients in other parts of the world, I say, right, let's meet online. You go into a cocktail place, I'll go into a cocktail place, we'll meet online, and we'll talk about your brand together, so I can learn about you and learn about what it is you're doing, like rock the earth, and what you're bringing to the world. Sometimes those meetings don't end in a photo shoot straight away, and that's cool with me. Sometimes people just want to meet me and get like wild, crazy, creative ideas. And again, that is cool with me. Or sometimes it eventually ends in a shoot, and sometimes it's a real quick thing. We meet online, we start talking and jamming on ideas, and then the next month it can be a session. Or, and this happens quite a lot now, we'll meet and then we'll talk a few ideas, and then there might be a mood board 3 months down the road, and then another 6 months we might have another little meeting, and then a year later there we are shooting in another country at a different event or something. We've eventually got our diaries to work together. But that's how for me, it's quite a long tail into working together. So that's quite common now for the way that I work. So I get to understand people's brand. I want to know why they're doing the business that they're doing. Everyone has a really interesting story behind what led them into that business. Everyone that I work with has their world domination plan. They want to rock the world. Everyone's really ambitious. And then usually there's always some kind of beef with a camera. So a horrible photographer came in when they were 6 at school, and there's always some trauma, and I always like to learn the story behind that. And then once I know all of those things, then I can start developing ideas based around all of that information. So it's very, there's a lot of information there. There's a whole chunk of a story before we can even begin.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to have cocktails as well. I always come up with my best ideas. And,
I think it'll help people relax as well, I suppose. You get a little bit of alcohol into them.
Totally.
Bring that down. I asked the question just in the chat if anyone who's here has had professional photography done, and we've had a couple of answers. And Karen has said that she has, but not a lot of thought went into it outside of colours, and that she's looking forward to the right time to engage with yourself. And Kathy's saying how fab it was getting her photos done at CMA. And Denise, probably quite commonly for a lot of people, hate getting my picture taken, but I really see the need for it now. I'm the same. I'm not one, I don't like getting my photo taken because I've got a bit of a squint smile, which has always kind of been something for me. And when I get photographs taken, I don't show my teeth. I just kind of looks like I'm smirking because I don't smile too much. I'm okay on video when I'm talking, but the having to stand still and smile is always a bit of a weird one for me. So I totally feel where Denise is coming from. I'm kind of the same as that. What else? Well, Richard said he's had some of those free at an event headshots taken. Marginally better than nothing. I don't know. I would say sometimes you're better off not having them. Sometimes they're pretty awful.
But that's like, it's just a repetition of the school photograph, that, isn't it? It's like someone's doing a business expo and they're like, do you know what? There's a bunch of business people here. Let's get a photographer in and we'll set up a booth and, bish, bash, bosh.
Yeah, and it's then everyone's a cardboard cutout of everyone else, aren't they? There's nothing there of that person. And as you say, you go through all of this legwork to find out about the person, because that's what a photograph does. It's kind of what I try to do with logos. I could do a really nice logo, which is pretty, but it doesn't represent the person. I've got to try and imbue it with them. With a photograph, you really are able to kind of bring that out in someone. And as I said to you, when us two came together, if you've done that groundwork and I come in and we do the groundwork together, that's when it's fun, man, because we both get a different angle on the same story. Yeah. And the two things coming together, because I think someone would speak to you with fully in mind photography, whereas they speak to me with more of a business leaning side to it, but it's still all relevant. And if you bring the both together, then you get the full picture. And I think that'd be really helpful for you to bring that forward, and in choosing the setting and the scene for that person. So it's
it's a whole new thing again. And that's my new, one of my favorite things as well. And then if you think you've got a web designer in the mix, and then maybe there's a business coach in the mix. I can't wait until I have a client who has like a real trusted psychic. And there's a psychic in the mix.
Really read them like a book.
Like a whole entourage. And you get part of the entourage. That's going to be fun when that eventually happens.
Yeah. Definitely. But the cocktails thing obviously works because Denise is now interested.
You see? Yes, Denise. My cocktails.
Catch up afterwards. But sorry, I just thought I would kind of interject there because there was quite a bit of feedback on people's experiences. And obviously,
feedback. Yeah, it's really
a varied mix of what people have been getting.
And where everyone's coming from as well. Yeah. Okay, keep the questions coming, guys, if you have any. So this is basically, leading us in nicely. So behind the scenes groundwork and quite a unflattering, no makeup picture of me. This is me talking to a stylist in preparations for a photo shoot for a client. So you can see on the top lots of different suppliers coming in, and then me dealing with photography specific suppliers on the bottom. So you might have your web designer, your graphic designer, your coach, your psychic, you obviously, and then at the bottom we will be dealing with I would be handling a stylist, I'd be handling a venue, maybe a prop supplier, maybe there'd be special effects people, hair, makeup, and then this is all of the work that I would be doing on one of my higher end packages. So we'd be working with the wider team. I always am meticulously watching the weather whenever I'm doing a session because I love to work outdoors. Again, working out routes. So I might be planning routes for all of the different suppliers to make sure that everything runs to time. I like to make sure whenever I'm doing a shoot that I'm directing the whole thing. I like to be the boss, but I also like to make sure that everything runs meticulously to time. So it's kind of project managing all of that.
Yeah.
I have a real social media element as well in all of my shoots. So especially on the higher end packages, I like to try and make sure that my clients have a real social media splash.
Mm-hmm.
So I would make sure you can see the little document there in the I think that's a Zoom chat actually, or it might be a Skype, where I've planned out when the stylist is going to be doing tweeting and then Facebooking, and then I would go in and have another meeting with the hair and makeup people, and we would synchronize up when they're doing their social media posting to make sure that the client is like, whoa, my social media's blowing up from this shoot. I didn't expect that. And it's like this extra bonus that they get. And we would agree if they have a brand specific hashtag, we're all going to be using that hashtag as much as possible. But it's just another extra element to give the client some, additional love. And so for instance, the makeup artist would be showing off their makeup products that they're using on the client, so that let's say they're using a specific Benefit eyeshadow, we're going to tag Benefit in that. When I did Tina's photos for the weightlifter, she tagged in this girl can, which is a very popular female personal trainer hashtag, and then they retweeted that.
I was going to say, that'll come alive.
Yeah. So you never know what can come out of that. So it can really help, if you're a small business, that could really elevate you in your particular field. So it's one of those mutually beneficial things. The makeup artist could get more business out of it. The stylist could get. It could help me. It could help the client. It's a massive social media loving. I love to do it. I love social media. It's great for everyone. So there's always constant client reassurance. So I don't know, if we were shooting, you might ring me 2 days before and go, Laura, I'm really freaking out about my teeth. What am I going to do? I know that now about you, and we might need to have an emergency conversation about that. Or I might just send you a little thing and say, don't worry about your smile. I know that. Don't worry. Might be a little thing there. Yeah. So that, that kind of thing. It's just the personal touch. So, and then there's the magic. So my stylist might get in touch, in the run up to the shoot and say, oh my God, I've just seen this amazing beard oil. Do you think Carla like that on the day? And be like, yeah, bring it along.
Yeah.
And that extra magic, so I like to have all of that in as an extra thread too. So I want to show everybody Helen. So Fitness with Helen. This is her mood board that we've done, and this is just to kind of explain visually how we've translated the work from her graphic designer into the photo shoot. So on the top left corner of her mood board, you can see the colors that we have from her rebrand, and then also the elements of her branding. So she has Fitness with Helen, and then part of her business is that she has Fitness with Friends, Fitness with Groups, and then Fitness with Helen reversed in the colors. So Helen is like a unique personal trainer in that she hates working in gyms. She's not the typical personal trainer who works with people in gyms. It's all about people going outdoors, people who would class themselves as really unhealthy people. And if you want to work out with your friend, or you have like an agreement with your brother or your sister or your mum or something, you just want to get a little bit better. Do you want to become like this fitness nut? You would go to somebody like Helen. And then her fitness with groups things is if she was going to go to like an old people's home or a YMCA, or somewhere that has a fitness element, that's her booking group work. And then fitness with Helen is your typical one-to-one type of work. So this was all part of her brand, and the fun, happy, like community element of it, as well as the healthy food side as well. And I just wanted to show straight away, you can see the orange peach color. That top was very carefully selected in the headshot session, so that pulls through. But then if we click through, you can see these I've just grabbed these from her website today. So these are pictures from her headshot session. She actually got some of her real life clients who were all different ages, all different sizes, real women. And these are how her web designer, who's Jerry, who everyone might know, Jerry.
Mr. King.
He helped her with the website. So this is a little bit of a different headshot session. We've got Helen on her own, but then we've got Helen working with her real model clients, and this is where it's kind of filtered in. So this is a kind of to show the full journey from the conception of her brand right through. And I just wanted to say, we've got the graphic designer, the web designer, stylist, makeup artist, hairstylist, and then obviously the real life clients as well. So that just shows you how everything feeds through. Then when I've completed a shoot, my clients always take the wheel. So I give them all of the images, not retouched, in a private online gallery. You might have seen this if you've been involved in a wedding before. This is quite common, but I do this with headshots. So clients can take the images and they have access to them in a private space online just to flick through. And I say to people, flick through them, put them down, and then pick them up again and flick through them again. So if you had a business coach, you might want to flick through them with your coach. And then after that time, we would meet up and go through them together and start narrowing them down. But then you can go back to the fitness with Hella ones. Then we would start thinking, right, how does that work on a crop for your website? Or maybe we would get together with somebody like Jerry, or we would meet up with a graphic designer and say, right, thinking about all of your needs that you were talking about there, how do these pictures work together like that? So it's that full kind of, I hate the expression 360 approach, but it kind of is that, for want of a much cooler expression. Okay. So, and then this, and any photographers, I think I saw Anne was in the group here. This is all of the not so fun, but kind of unglamorous stuff that happens. So we have the magical backup, and then I do things in Lightroom. Then I do another magical backup. Then I do things in Photoshop, which is where the fun retouching thing comes in. Then we have another magical backup. Then I do things in Lightroom again. Then another magical backup happens. And then people get a license to use document, which is the copyright stuff. And then everything gets boxed up in the end. So it ain't just a quick little, there's your files, see you later. It's a full shawam thing. Couple more slides before we can have a little bit of a chat. Unless, has anybody asked any questions?
I think they're just having a chat between themselves about photography that they've had done. Kathy singing your praises.
Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah, no, all good. And Anne just saying all the tools. So yeah, she agreed with you on what needs to be done with photos.
Endless backing up. So everyone is basically hired. I wanted to get a lovely picture of Mr. Sugar here. So these are my services that I have, and these are all different headshots packages. So we have the turbo session, and this is if you want to do a quick half hour sessions. Sometimes these are quite popular at events like CMA. So if there's another event happening and we've managed to cross paths and we know we're going to have a half hour, and that's where you have 7 final images. So maybe if you're looking to do the first step of investment, you think I'm going to go with 7 images, but half hour is fine. That's the one. Then the quirky. So if we're going to really start digging into your brand, we'll go up to 2 hours. If you've got beef with the camera and you really hate having your picture taken, maybe dialing it up to 2 hours is the better way to go. So I would advise that over the half hour. If you like freaking hate having your picture taken, let's go to 2 hours. Then I can intersperse it with either like pints of beer or we can have coffee breaks.
I was going to say it's just an hour and a half of plying people with cocktails and then the 30-minute shoot time, isn't it?
Yeah. And then the higher end services is the shawam, which is a whole half day. And that's when I start bringing in the team. So we would have the makeup artist, the stylist, the hair. So there's the add-on bits there where you would meet up with the stylist and sort out what you're going to be wearing. And then the full shawami is when we have the entire whole day, and that's going to completely level you up visually. So anything, anything's possible in a whole day. Really, it blows stuff when we get to that level. So those are the 4 standard headshot services. Now, if I'm doing a big event, so something like, I don't know, like social media marketing world, where it's a 3 or 4 days in a whole new city, or I don't know, in New York or something for a week, I might tweak the packages accordingly. But usually they're kind of around these 4 types of services. So if you want to, if you're in a city with me at that, in a new place, it's going to be around these 4 things. Now, I am completely a Marmite girl. I freaking love Marmite, by the way, but I am a Marmite girl. You're either going to love me or you're going to absolutely hate me. But these are the types of things to listen out for and sniff down for the types of people that will want to work with me. So like I said before at the beginning of my little slides that I had, my ideal client has unadulterated ambition. I've also been toying around with the expression unbridled ambition, but I don't know which one's best. And this actually came into my head at CMA Live, where a lot of people were talking about saying no more. This is a new thing that I'm playing with. So if anyone has any feedback on this, I'm more than happy. I'm all ears. So I'm looking for very determined people who really do have a world domination plan. I love to work with those people because, I love that feeling. It really gives me like creative sparks when I meet people like that. They're very clear on what they want, and I love to help them. So sometimes because of that, you might get a little bit of a whiff of an ego, but I love that all the more. People who really have that world domination plan. Yeah, come on, let's do it. They want to be rock stars. Yes. I'm happy to work with that. Magic words might be, I kind of need to be booking more speaking gigs, man. Yep, send them my way. I'm happy to help. Or any of the other phrases I've put down there, that's gold dust to me. So if you hear that, send them my way. But people who don't quite have their brand figured out yet, I'm more than happy to help them. But it might be one of these like referral back through to somebody like you, Carl. They might need to do a little bit of work first before I can really, really help them. I mean, I can give somebody a great headshot, but when they've really figured it out, that's when the magic really happens.
Because I think, again, there's so many similarities between our services in that I could have someone come to me who thinks they know what their brand is and they're really confident with it, and then you create a piece of artwork to it, and then 6 months down the line, they really find out their brand and they go, that stuff you did for me is just not quite right anymore. So you do want to be 100% on your brand. So there's a lot of things to think about. But I think you've already said earlier on, you will have conversations with people and sound them out. And I'm pretty sure you'll be able to say, I don't think you're quite ready yet. I think you need to go do this, this, and this. and then come back. Or, as you say, refer them to me or refer them to a business coach or someone that can help them in the area that they're struggling with, which will really bring out their brand persona, which is kind of what you need to go. And I'm almost there. I'm 95% there with mine. I'm just not quite there yet. And kind of said that to you before CMA Live. Almost there. Almost there.
It's coming. You can feel it's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there. And it was just really great to see, because you just think when you're going to get, we've already covered that a headshot's not just head and shoulders, but also being able to see the example from Helen where all those images are used on the website. You know, it's not just, I think people will be thinking, I need a professional headshot for my LinkedIn page. And that's pretty much as far as their thinking will go. But then what you provide is a whole suite of branded images. Now, there may be some people thinking, well, there's more than just me and my business. I have a team, so I can't be, it's not a personal branded business if you're like me, and they maybe are all in as a team, but I'm pretty sure you could probably do something with those people, you know.
It's still telling the story of your business.
Yeah.
So whether your business is just you or whether your business is 100 people, we need to tell the story of your business. So let's tell that story. Everyone's story is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So the photography of that is going to be completely different. It might be that the individual headshots need to be a little bit more standardized if there's 100 people to get through, but let's not make them the boring white background ever.
Yeah.
You know, you can do it in a lot of unique ways, but we need to pull through the branding. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking off the top of my head, I'm thinking, for example, Sharon Menzies, who spoke at CMA, and her Influx team. They're all very different personalities. You know, Lauren is very different to Sharon. So I think, you know, to get all those people to get their personality out, because that's what makes the business
come through. Is what they do on a day-to-day basis is very different, because they bring something different to Influx.
Mm-hmm.
They operate different, so their headshots would need to tell that story.
Yeah,
it's like if you had you know, a big company, you'd have the mailman, the guy in the mailroom, shoot him in the mailroom. Don't make him come to this horrible great
in the boardroom or something, just out of place. Yeah
You tell the story. This is, you know, Lenny the copy guy, like in Friends. Put him in the copy room. So it's explaining it that way. Put the person into their context. That's what I would want to do with a job like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder, of course it is, but it's going to make it so much better.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, and companies, from my experience of having done company brochures and company websites, the photography is just, you can see that they've just been stood against a firing line wall.
Yeah, nice.
And then who's got the best smartphone, right? And the lighting is from the side, and there's a shadow here, and but then even then the lighting's different on every single person, and it's just awful to work with. But I don't even think with companies I don't think it's penny pinching. I don't think it's cutting costs doing that side of things. I genuinely think they think they're doing a great job with it, because we've got everybody against the same background. That's professional, you know, that's as far as it goes. But I think getting someone like yourself in is an entirely different league, and it can really make all the difference. Well, it does make all the difference, especially when it comes to a website. The photography is what will make or break it.
And it's building that trust. So whatever that company does, as soon as somebody lands on that website, it's going to make them stick around, figure out, oh, right, that's what that guy does. And that's what makes them different from that guy.
Yeah.
Hang around on the website for starters, and then build the trust, which is what the website's there for in the first place.
Yeah. Personality, if you can get that through in the photographs, as you say, it'll make them want to kind of look further.
Or go to the contact us page, which is like the golden page to start with.
Yeah.
You know, why you've paid the money.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I've got these links here for people
Cool.
if they want to take some stuff, help yourselves. So the prices for the 4 services that I mentioned, /headshots, you can go and click there. Or if you want to binge on free services, go to the bookshelf. So I don't know if you ever do this, but I always do this at house parties. You know, if you're in the living room, you know, having a little bop around, I always go through the records and I always look at the bookshelf. I really judge people on their bookshelves. Do you do this, Carl?
Not something that I do, but maybe others do.
Like, you have that book? Oh God, I'm never coming back here. So this is why I call this page the bookshelf. So yeah, that's where that came from. So help yourself, peruse my bookshelf and judge me based on it.
What I'll do is when I have the recording of this, I'll embed it on a web page and I'll make sure that these links are below the video so that people have got easy access to them.
Cool.
When they're there. But, I'll have a look through your bookshelf.
Yeah, look at my bookshelf. Go on. So I think I have one page left, and you asked me a question earlier on.
Yeah.
And I was not happy about the question that you asked me.
Is this my musical question?
Yes.
Okay, and have you got a slide prepared for it?
Yes.
I'll ask you my question before you show it then.
Go on.
I've got, I remember someone saying to me that when you start doing webinars, you have to have a serial question that people will, as you become known, as Mark would say, I won't say famous, as I become known, as Mark Schaefer says, people will expect to be asked the question if they appear on your webinar. So my question to Laura is, if they were to make a rock and roll musical of your life, which rock, metal, rock and roll superstar would play the part of you, and they can be alive or dead in that part? So who have you chosen, Laura?
Well,
because you weren't happy that I only let you choose one, so I don't know what's coming up.
So I spent a little bit of time on YouTube after getting these slides ready. I had to have a cup of tea and a biscuit.
You've taken this seriously.
Yeah, I really have, man. I had to go through my influences, and this is what I've prepared.
Okay.
So it's going to be a rock musical, right? Paloma is going to be the star of the musical. Elton John is going to write it. It's going to be called Snap, you know, like cats.
Yeah.
Snap. Elton John's going to write the musical, but Mel C is going to be like his apprentice, and it's going to be her first entry into musical composing.
Okay.
But she's only going to be his apprentice. And all of the broads on the top, that's going to feature all of their music. So it's kind of a watered down. I thought, first of all, I was like, Stevie Nicks, gotta be.
Yeah.
But then I thought you're going to want it to be kind of a metal influence. But then I was like, oh, I can't not have Dolly. I can't not have Janice.
Oh, they're all rock and roll. They're all metal. They're all, yeah, they exude that.
Juliette Lewis. But I thought I'm going to have Paloma in the musical. So there you go. I can't.
That's a big explanation.
But Ellen could really write this, couldn't he? I kind of want to tweet him about it now.
You should, and let Mel C know that you're being kind enough to give her first opportunity to.
One way to piss off Mel C.
Good way to reach out, and then if that fails, you could always ask if she needs any new headshots done, and just kind of go in there. That's an excellent answer. I can't wait to see what the next guest, and I know who the next guest is, but I'm not going to.
You're not going to review
here. I'll especially because this will be recording, and so it's might be a bit weird if that guest doesn't show. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the next guest and the answer that they give. But you've set the standard now. You've set the bar. So people are going to start making videos, and maybe the first 5 minutes of their own biopic. It'll be amazing.
There you go. Yeah. Well, you know, all of these artists, you know, if there was a blues song, like a bad period in my life, I'm thinking, yeah, that's definitely a Janice song. And then, you know, then you know, say there's a journey in my life where it becomes a more positive time, that's going to be Dolly, you know, raising the spirits up. Yeah. So I really want the musical to be written now.
Cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
there you
So
go.
if you want to stop the share on your screen so we can see you again for when we finish up. So that was awesome. I think
that was good
I
fun.
think everybody will see that it's as we all knew, it's not just a case of pulling out the camera, taking some quick shots, and then dragging them onto the computer and sending them over. But I think what a lot of people won't realize is the amount of effort that you go into to find out about the person's brand. It's as in depth as I will go with a client, and it's just. I think it'll bring out confidence in the client if you're willing to do all of that work. They know that they're going to get something and you understand them. So it's been amazing to hear your process. And I know that, you know, from what people have been saying in the comments and the people that have worked with you have said it is an amazing process, even if it's only a short shoot compared to the full day one. And I know that, you know, mines will be coming up at some point. So we will social share the shit out of that when I'm down there. But we'll need to, I don't know where I'm going to do it. Might do it down in Newcastle. Might need to try and break our way into Underworld or something. Or no, what's the one is it Rock City? Yeah. What's in Newcastle? What's the rock club? Is it Rock City?
World headquarters. There's a few that we.
Is there a few? Yeah.
Where are you with your brand? Are you happy to share on the webinar? I know you shared a little when we were having a talk.
I've changed my logo. I've changed my logo, so my logo is now a bit more plain, because I kind of want to separate. As now that I've got Stuart helping me as a designer, it's becoming more of an agency side for Pixels Inc., and I want to separate out my personal brand side, which will be the speaking side and workshops and things like that, which will kind of be a funnel, I suppose, for pulling work into Pixels Inc. So I'm it's a double thing at the minute, but I could very much see it really being two distinct separators. So it would be the personal side that I'd be looking to.
So you're going to be like Col Grey of Pixels Inc.
Something like that, yeah, or just Pixels Call or whatever, however I want to do it. But it's, you know, I wanted to do speaking and stuff, but I still brick it about it. But I've had good feedback for the little talks that I've done, so I just need to kind of work those into bigger things. But so you've now got me talking about me on my own webinar as
really wanted you to share, because you're on an interesting journey, and we've had a discussion on email, haven't we, where I think you should be sharing the progress of your journey through the webinar.
I should be. I did say I would do that in my Rock Your Brand group, and I've been quite lax on that, so I need to do a Facebook Live tomorrow now. Thanks very much. No, I'll do that. I'll do a Facebook Live. But it's a nice segue, actually. If you're watching this recording and you aren't in my Rock Your Brand group, which is a free group where we all share our brand journeys and what we've learned and what's gone wrong and how we can fix it, then head over to rockyourbrand.co.uk. It's just a Facebook group, and it'll forward you into there. I'll approve you if you're nice. And join us all, and it's awesome, and you'll get kind of heads up on these webinars, and I do give some free advice in that every now and again if you're needing some help. But thanks again, Laura. This has been brilliant. As I say, some great feedback there, and I will get this edited, and it will be available on the Pixels Inc. website. If you have registered for this call, you should have received the email for that. If not, hit me up, call it Pixels Inc., and I will send it on. So all I have to say is see you on the next webinar, and stay creative.
Mwah!